Well, the Nigerian government has announced a temporary suspension of the Expatriate Employment Levy. That was March 8th, pending further consultation with stakeholders. The decision to suspend the EEL followed a meeting with the Federal Ministry of Interior, Nigerian Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industry and Mines and Agriculture, that's NACIMA, and other stakeholder traders and commerce associations and agencies. But it's a temporary suspension, meaning it can be returned. Let's find out what businesses should do, at this time. Joining us now is Marvis Oduogo, team lead, Taxation, Immigration, Labor and Employment Practice Group, Stren & Bland Partners. Great to have you on the show.
Thank you very much, Lady.
Fantastic. Well, I don't know if you've been able to use the internet today, but I've been struggling all day, trying to, get my production right with the internet. But it's been a huge headache. But let's get into it now. We're seeing most analysts and stakeholders, they're happy. This is a positive move, for them. Looking at this suspension.
Yes.
But I want to know how you guys at Stren & Bland are seeing this.
Okay. First off, we viewing it that it's not a call to go sleep. It's temporary. And it's good, both on the part of the government. It shows the government has listening ears to what stakeholders have to say, and it's also good both on the part of the stakeholders themselves to give them the leverage to work internally and externally to make sure that things are in proper order. So I think it's a moment of interregnum to enable both parties to fix things and come together. Yes.
Right, but it's a positive move.
It's a positive move.
But I'd like to know, maybe you can break it down, because there are always risks, there are always demerits, there are always benefits with policies. Break it down for me. What are some of the benefits that we could actually get from this EEL?
Yes. So the benefits is that first it's going to increase and develop the skill, local workforce skill. Is going to also help in bringing about the public and private collaboration. It's going to bring it together. It's going to also help to balance the demographic shift. These are one of some benefits that we tend to agree, and also definitely is going to bring revenue for the government.
Right.
So that's one of it. That's on the government side, but also on the business side, we'll look at it internally in the sense on the workforce for the Nigerian workforce, what they have to get. There's a benefit for them there. But when you look at it from the flip side, the business community is not very, has not taken this favorably. Why? Because the engagement going on all this while did not take cognizance of some of their concerns before the enactment came in. So, and that was why the suspension came at a very apt moment. Yes.
Yeah, quite a difficult time. When you think about everything businesses are having to go through at this time, from rising cost of doing business and all of that. Exactly. But talk to me now. Are the risks really that risky? Because most analysts and experts, they've painted the picture, about the risks of this levy. But break it down for me. Is it really that risky?
So the risk is risky, given the timing. So the timing for Nigeria, the economy of Nigeria is still trying to find its way to stability, and the timing is not very, very good. And it also has the effect of duplicity. There are some local content laws in Nigeria that almost provide for something levies of that sort. And bringing it up at this time may be like overheating a particular source. So it's a very risky thing at this moment. But also, when you look at externally, Nigeria have some trade agreements with other countries, especially something like the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. The other countries, when they see a policy like this, and they'll say, what is the sincerity for the Nigerian government in coming. And when they do something reciprocal to Nigerians coming into their own country, it will backfire. And also there are many Nigerians with world-class talents in other places doing great things. And with this policy, some of them may receive a boomerang effect of a similar policy from those countries.
So all these other countries don't have any levies on expatriates?
So there are some few countries. I would mention Malaysia, something like Singapore and Saudi Arabia. I remember Saudi Arabia in 2017 had something like that. But if you look very deeply, you find out that they have a stable economy, and the timing for them, they know that their place is a hub, a commercial hub. Even with such policies, investors will still want to go there. But with Nigeria, such policy at the time like this.
But they still keep talking about the opportunities that abound, in Nigeria. So how are we sure, some of these foreign investors won't still go ahead even with the levy? Because they might say the opportunity outweighs, the levy.
Now, that's the good side of the levy. So the good side of the levy is that it's going to compel some of the foreign investors to look deep and actually be sincere in complying with the provisions of some of these local content acts. When foreign investors apply for expatriate quotas and everything, it's expected under the law that they file at least two, they give details of two Nigerians that understudy that very position. So how sincere are they? Because instead of seeing those two Nigerians growing to occupy those positions in the future, we see a situation of where those expatriate quotas are renewed and even shifted and gone ahead to be converted to the CEPAC, Combined Expatriate Residence and Permit and Alien Card. So it's going to push the foreign investors to be very, very sincere and to look back and dig deep and then leverage on other ways. And that is why we are here. What other ways can they leverage on?
And definitely, I don't know if we have an idea what it would have cost, if we're going to move forward with this levy. Any idea?
So if the levy, we moved forward with the levy on the monetary cost for the foreign investors,
right.
For the director, for a director position, $15,000 annually. And then for anyone occupying a position not that of a director, $10,000 annually. So it's an annual thing. But the good side of it is that once it is paid for a particular position, you can, as an organization, you can put in someone to stay off the rest of the duration. So I can come in and it's paid for the position I occupy, and if my tenure, exceeds and terminates within that year, another person can step over and take over from me and stay completely to that person.
And how does it compare with other countries that have these levies? Are we more expensive or cheaper?
Oh, so if you compare it with other countries that have these levies, we are not more expensive. But when you look at it on the other side, that these foreign investors are also meant to pay things like $2,000 for expatriate quotas, and also about $7 million for CEPAC, then you will see that it's a bit on the high side. So when they comply with this and also comply with the expatriate employment levy, then it's something
gets a little expensive.
Yes, sadly.
All right, let's look at, definitely the consultations are going to go on at this time.
Definitely.
But what are you expecting? Is it going to be shelved completely, or there's a possibility it might come back, or they might maybe make some changes to the cost? What are you expecting?
Truthfully, looking at what is going on, I believe it's going to come back, but it's going to come back in a modified way, because all parties would have come to the table and present their concerns, and these concerns will be addressed and viewed from other ends. And then I also believe that it's going to lead to strengthening of the institutions. The Nigerian Immigration Service as an institution that is saddled with the responsibility of enforcing this would now have to sit upright to look deep and see how have we been enforcing or some of these expatriate quota and other levies that have been entrusted into our hands. And then you're going to come back, but it's going to come back with a modified provision and probably the amount.
Maybe they might cut the amounts, going forward.
Yes.
All right. So definitely, businesses would have to. The businesses that employ expatriates,
yes,
they need to do something, at this time. Even though it's been suspended for now.
Yes.
What should those kind of businesses be doing?
Yes. Two things: internally and then externally. So internally, the business will have to look into their record, the expatriate workers' record that they have, to ensure that first it is upgraded and updated and it is accurate. And then they have to be very sincere in examining those records or assessing those records to know, actually, do we really need an expatriate to occupy this position? Haven't we trained enough local talent that can take over from that? And then two, businesses can leverage on technology. I do recall sometime an MD of one of the international oil companies had problems sometime in Nigeria, and an order of the Federal High Court was given, and he was prevented from coming into the country. But that didn't stop him from carrying out his functions as an MD. Why? Because the company leveraged on technology, and this is the time to do that. Leverage on technology, and then also train the local partners that this business have in Nigeria. If you look at the handbook, although it's suspended now, 183 days. Plan a program around it, do a training program before the 183 days within Nigeria, go abroad, call the local partners, invite them, train them. 183 days.
So there's a possibility some of these expatriates, going forward, might have to be replaced.
That is it. That is it at the long run. Or they can leverage on technology and occupy their positions and operate from anywhere around the world.
So this could actually contribute to, protecting local workers.
Exactly.
Going forward.
Exactly. It's a very great tool to protecting local workers and also increasing the skill level of local workers, and then the transparency level on the part of the business, because at the point they will get to say, okay, definitely we have to sit back and look at these things. And I tell you, the remuneration margin may be breached one way or the other.
One way or the other.
Yes.
But let's look at one other issue. At this time, with when it comes to Binance, that's the exchange. We've heard that two of their executives will be held in Nigeria, at this time. And the federal government is making some requests, at this time. And it's about user data. That's people that use the exchange. They want the top 100, at this time. But walk me through now, holding these two, executives at this time, is there any risk to us, at this time, holding these two people in the country?
So the only risk I can think of, first off, I know that there are laws that would have empowered the government to believe where there is actual suspicion of infringement or anything. Those laws can empower the government to hold on the two top executives of Binance. But on the flip side of it, where the governments of the countries that their top executives are held, takes that on a personal level. They could engage the government, and then they may come back with one or two I use the word soft threats. Just a week or something, we saw the president travel to Qatar and signed a couple of agreements with so that could be something that may have a ripple effect back to Nigeria, if it is about. The only thing the government can do to ensure that this thing does not go out of hand is to be very, very transparent in the dealings with the two top executives, to be very, very transparent on the reasons they were called in, they were invited, and they were held, and the investigations that are going to be very, very, very transparent about it. And with that, every other thing that may come back may be explained out.
Right, and I'd like to also hear from the legal community, at this time. Is Binance, are they obligated to actually release that information? And when it comes to, consumer data protection, is there any breach here at this point?
Yes, so information held, notwithstanding the confidentiality agreement, there are certain exceptions, and one of the exceptions is when it is requested or demanded by law. And simply that law means an order of the court has been obtained for that and then issued. And once that order is issued, the body, the organization having the information requested is obligated to turn in that. So if that is the process used by government here, then automatically Binance may be compelled to release that, and still we have a solid defense against any case of liability that may fall back on them. Because
so the users could actually sue Binance for releasing their information?
Definitely. But now the question will now be, what defense is at Binance threshold to make use of? And the defense will be, we are compelled by law to do that.
All right, but what are you seeing generally? How do you see this matter ending?
Well, I see that finally the parties will come to a resolution. Because it drives my mind to something that happened sometime with the British American tobacco. Businesses are here to protect their interests, and most times they don't want to go the length. And also, government is out for one thing: revenue. And once they are able to secure that revenue, the revenue that ought to come into the government is coming in, then there is something that cannot be. Even under the criminal jurisdictions of Nigeria, we still have plea bargain. So I'm seeing a case of where the parties will come, have a plea bargain, and everything is settled.
All right, we'll definitely be watching out for that. Thank you so much for coming on. Marvis Odwogu, Team Lead, Immigration and Labor Practice at Strennan Bland.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All right, so we'll take a break now. When we come back, we head straight to the markets. Just stay with us. This is Business Incorporated.